Hey there YouTube, I'm Ikitsu, this is the Ikitsu Times, welcome to my channel, welcome to a little bit of Cities Skylines. So, as you can see, I've built up the city quite a bit, but this is actually the second attempt at it in this particular style, and there is a specific problem with trying to do this way. For one thing, the ratios of commercial to residential are a little bit off if you go for the sort of grid pattern. I could try and do it so that I've got another station coming in as a commercial hub, but what I've decided to actually do is build a smaller commercial nexus over here, and you can see it's actually doing quite well. It's connected to a quartet of harbors, which is constantly streaming in all of these supplies here. But what I've sort of learned from this particular iteration of it is that this sort of grid system runs into bottlenecking problems in the central terminal here, in the sense that, like, I can't get enough trains into here to feed all of the commercial that I've got here. So I actually need to think of some sort of way to make it so that my commercial blocks are about half this size with still 2 trains running to it, basically. Or actually still probably 1 train. Part of the problem is the bottleneck from the trains heading here itself, because there are so damn many trains going there. There's also some issues that I've been having with the road system near the industrial sector. The industrial sector is producing so many goddamn cars that are all heading into the transit stations to deliver their stuff. Like, even though I've got a decent distribution of these transit systems, it looks like you can only have, like, 2 blocks worth of industry per transit zone. Because, like, look, I got one here, here, and yet the traffic is still backing up, and these are all people delivering supplies to the nearby businesses, and so on and so forth. So the trains are actually getting backed up. So I need to think of some sort of way to rely less on industry and probably more on external exports, just as the entire thing, basically. So what we're going to try and do is go for a slightly different map there, go for a slightly different configuration. We can still go for these grids for the main residential, but what I'm going to try and do is actually create a commercial belt along the riverside, and then just use entirely offices later on in the game using imports only. The thing about the industrial belt is that they are effective at getting me the industrial goods that my commercial zones need, but you can actually get all the stuff that you need for a commercial zone from external connections. And since, like, think about an industrial building this way. An industrial building sends out 1 car to get supplies, and then it sends out another car to deliver its production that goes over to the commercial. Well, if you just have the commercial and you've got an external connection, all you have is the external connection, and then the car goes to the commercial, and that's it. So it ends up being a lot more efficient to just have the commercial reliant on outside cities, I guess, if you're going into that sort of part of the game. And of course you can have the offices for the industry demand part there. These blocks need a lot of utilities to them. I'm not entirely sure though why it is that these things are having so much trouble getting their garbage picked up, because we've got these 2 garbage incineration plants here, and we've only got 1 truck in use for some damn reason, so, like, they're apparently just not going here. And the roads do connect to there, so they could be going around like Lake Street along the outside here, but we're going to give this another shot and try a slightly different configuration of it. I think we have to make the squares just a tiny bit smaller as well, which is going to be possible because we won't have to put a transit hub in the center of them. So part of the reason that they're this size is that this is the size required to make a Barcelona-style square, and still have room for 2 train depots, or even 1 train depot in the center of it. I could probably put one at a diagonal if it's a smaller, but it would be a really clunky looking thing, and it would be really awkward to sort of work the lines there. So one of the nice things about this setup, though, we can take a quick look at our transit hub here. We can see that we've actually got over 5,000 people using the subway systems every single week, and you can actually see our sort of central subway system here. Looks very, very good. I actually really like this pattern for the subway block. The problem for us is actually the train lines. You can see the trains are just backed up to hell. They're actually getting jammed in the station before they can get through this little interchange here, so I probably have to do something to clean that up. But even so, like, the main issue is just how many trains there are. Like, there's just, even if they were getting into the stations properly and this wasn't sort of causing this backup, like, realistically, a real train line would have means to coordinate trains so that they stop at the correct space so that trains can get past one another. Like, I live in a city where they've got trains that sort of go past one another and so on and so forth, but in this case it's sort of like that. But even when they're operating at full capacity, these things still end up with that problem of not getting enough supplies. So there is that sort of issue there. Then, of course, we've also got this commercial hub over here. It's having sort of the same issue of running out of certain things there. It's not quite as bad. This one's a little bit better laid out, but it's because it's able to rely on this sort of river connection, so that's kind of why this is the way it is. So yeah, we're going to try a similar sort of style there, see if we can get really high density again. For such a small area, we've actually got a fairly decent population, 68,000, and I haven't even fully blocked out all the houses here. It's just that, again, we're running into problems with the ratios. So yeah, we'll try this again, and we'll be right back. Alright, so this is our new temporary arrangement. We're going to get rid of some of these elements like the outside city connections again later. We might actually keep a road connection to our industrial commercial zone. For now, we've actually got an industrial zone over here. This is going to be something that we replace with potentially commercial later, but if we have a small industrial strip, that's going to be fine throughout the game there. So the way that this currently is set up, we've got it set up so that people can get into the city and branch off into whichever way they're going to go. The only way they can really leave, though, is if they go... Well, actually, no, they can leave directly this way or through this way. So we're sort of splitting the traffic between our residential and our industrial commercial zone so that people don't have to go through the residential to get to the commercial stuff like that. I probably should have actually put the commercial or residential inroad into the commercial zone on this side and reverse these, but I can actually do it for free, so let's go ahead and do that. So I want to reverse these, and the reason is that this is going to make it even more unappealing for traffic to go through the residential, through the commercial area or whatever, so they're less likely to take this turn off, go in here, go up here, and out to here. So because they would have to go all the way down here and then up here. So this just really extends that distance that they'd have to travel, giving me a little bit of leeway on that. Because where we place the generators, we don't have to worry too much about our power cables, so we have a fairly minimal amount of those, which is pretty nice as well. I could reduce costs right now, but if I'm going to go over, I'm going to go over. There's not much I can do about it. Or rather go, you know, bankrupt or whatever. Alright, let's just grab that. As much as possible as residential, and we're starting to get a tiny bit of that demand for our commercial and industrial zones. Game is running like crap, which is kind of surprising, but not really sure what exactly about this is doing. It might be the water textures. This computer really always has trouble with water textures, and I'm not sure why. Well, either way, we're down to a mere 888, and we're losing 1,002 in every week, so pretty rapid decline of our money available there. Should be getting access to a little bit of the industry, and that's when things sort of kick back in your favor there. So we got the dirty water pipe over here. Water flows down this direction, so all the pollution from the industrial runoff is going to be heading down in that direction. Got $666. That's always fun to see. Let's go ahead and speed this up, actually. Oh, it's probably also the weather effects. Those always really screw things over. It's interesting. We're not getting any production of our industrial zone here. Ah, there we go. First buildings, commercial and industrial. There we go. So that usually swings things around a lot harder because the amount of money that you get in taxes from houses is pretty much minimal. Do I have these facing the right direction? Looks like I do. Yeah, all the way out to there. So people should be able to get into the city and people should be able to get out of it. Let's see if I actually blocked enough space, though, for me to get to the first milestone, which is really the only key part there that you need, is getting to that first milestone. I might have to replace a little bit of our commercial with more industrial here. I probably don't need quite this much commercial yet. So we'll do it out like that. So this one road is going to basically be a bit hell, since it's going to have pedestrian, or it's going to have worker traffic, it's going to have commercial traffic, it's going to have the cross traffic between the business section and the commercial section, so it's going to be hell. Nothing I can do about that right now, really. Definitely feel like we're going to be okay since we're ticking a positive. Even if I didn't space out enough room, I can just wait a couple hours. Since I don't have to rack up utilities while we're doing this, I'll eventually have enough money to get our population set, but I'm pretty damn sure that we're going to hit our first milestone on our current population here, so that's fine. Yeah, little hamlet. Alright, perfect. This is the only one that you need, like, right off the bat here, is the garbage. So we're going to go ahead and grab that. Should be enough to fix up our entire town here. The hospital's kind of important. If you can afford it, you might as well get it. So we can afford ours, so we might as well. Let's just drop it there. I don't really care that we've crushed a house to do it. Alright, so it's looking good. We can go ahead and speed things up just a little bit here. We still got $5,000 in fact, so we can go ahead and add in more piping. Piping's sort of like that thing that you need in the early game, like before you hit the first milestone, where it's just like, did I have enough piping and roads? And if you don't, then you have to restart the game. It's fun. That's why they should have allowed loans in the first part of the game. Oops. It's kind of ridiculous the amount of money they expect you to actually like start a city with. It's kind of nonsense actually. You would never actually start founding an entire city based on the amount of money that they gave you. It would just be like a disaster. Alright, from here on out, we just want to get our population up to the capstone amount as fast as possible. The 8,500 or something like that. I can't really remember the number, but it's quite a big number. Okay, so I kind of set up this pipe in a weird spot, so we'll have to do it like this. And see, this is what I'm saying, like, we just have to wait for pipes. Still have a little bit of industrial, but what I want to do is be able to put industrial on the other side of the road here, and for that we'll need a little bit more. You can also add some little areas in here, just where people can work, but you can see that this is what's sort of filling in. That's also what's giving us all this money, so pretty good. Out of power, shit. Okay. Gonna go ahead and take a loan here. I don't have quite enough money yet, I don't think, for the type power plant, because I want to switch over to the coal power plant. Actually, no, I do have enough money. Okay, perfect. Let's go ahead and take that loan there. Sinking for some reason was 22,000 for one of these, but apparently not. Alright, and we'll drop that down there. So, like, your first coal power plant is just a necessity because you're going to end up in a situation where you don't want to constantly be putting down these wind turbines because they barely power anything. You end up spending way, way more on that. Alright, so out of these, we only need the fire station, really. One of the things I like about this map is that it's got the European tile set, which I like a little bit better than the default. I think we'll put this up here. There we go. And we're down to negative 174, and this is because of the amount of money that we're spending on our new coal power plant. It costs quite a lot to maintain that, so that's fine, though. We'll be able to manage. Okay, let's grab that, and we'll start putting in some more residential roads so that we can increase our population just by a little bit there. I have to be a bit careful about how I do roads, though, because the way that we're doing it is kind of funky. So I think this is the fastest way to do this type of road. And then we go across to here. Like, this style of road with the weird one-ways, like, I would never think to do it this way myself, so this is the sort of thing that I definitely am happy other urban planners have gone and dealt with instead of me. Then we go across to this side, do the same thing over here. With all these other weird lines that have sort of taken up residence here. I could probably actually be running this on slow while we're doing this. I don't really need to be paused. I am losing money, but should be righting itself relatively soon. I could also increase taxes, actually. I probably should. Yeah, so let's go back into our budget here. Let's go into our taxes. In particular, like industrial up to 11% is a big boost. The other stuff doesn't really matter as much, but it'll help. Alright, so all of our demands for sort of residential whatever is kind of balanced right now, so we're probably not going to get a big boost out or anything out of this, but it'll do. Haven't seen any sort of rebound from increasing our taxes, though. That's a little bit odd. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to decrease our electrical budget here, which really sucks. We'll decrease the night budget, which usually doesn't matter as much. People sort of expend less money on electricity at night. And that should get us back up there. We're also like paying off our loan, and we're paying for a lot of new utilities and stuff like that, but still, it's a little bit worrying to see ourselves in negative income at this stage of the game, because there's not a whole lot I can do to recover from it. Alright, so there we go. It's getting somewhere. I'll go ahead and add in some commercial here too, so that should fix that. Basically just trying to get ourselves into a position where everything's set up as fast as possible. Alright, so we're up quite a lot more income now all of a sudden, so that's pretty nice. Alright. Just drag out these. Not enough money again. Damn it. There we go. Oh, and we need another one-way over here. $1,200. These roads are expensive. Okay. Grab that. Probably do these. It's not too much strategy you can do in terms of where you're placing those sorts of things. You just have to sort of give it a go there. Alright, I kind of think that I'm probably going to need the commercial and, damn it, commercial and industrial increased a little bit before I get my residential finished. Yeah, in particular it looks like commercial's running short, so... Okay, we want to get about... Oh, shit. Not actually sure that I like having hit Tiny Town. And anyway, one step over that way. There we go. I don't necessarily know that I need the connection anymore from the electrical grid there. It looks like I still do, actually. Yeah, there's nothing connecting the electricity otherwise. Okay, let's just go from here, I think, to there. That ought to do it. So this is going to be a fairly quick build back up to where we sort of were before, but, you know, not really. Alright, let's go ahead and grab a quick public school. Actually, this is the European set, so this is, I guess, the private school? I can't really remember. It's opposite there or something like that. Alright, and then we need a police station. It's starting to get to the point where we're seeing a little bit of crime here. Alright, we can go ahead and speed this up, I think. We're getting 1,600 per month or week there, so it's doing pretty okay now. Alright. So that should be a set for utilities and stuff like that for a little while, but I do need the central square done pretty soon, just because, partly because the high school is so ridiculously big in the European tile set. It's like one of the things I actually don't like about the European tile set is the size of the goddamn high school, because like it's this big. This is too big. Like, you can't fit it in... It's just too big. I think the capacity is a bit higher, though, for the European one, though. Student capacity is 1,000. I can't remember what it is for the American-style one, though. It might be 600 or something like that. Still, I think that this is actually more than twice as big as the American equivalent. It's kind of ridiculous. Oh well. Anyway, let's go ahead and grab up this here. And there we go. So this completes that sort of square there. We're going to replace some of this residential once we get access to the high density and stuff like that with the office blocks, but for now this is going to be fine. I'm going to need to extend out our commercial zone, I think, next, but what we can do is actually just go across... Ah, shit. Might have to slightly relocate this. Okay. So that cost us money that I didn't really want to have to spend, but that's fine, I guess. Get that to there. Get this out to here. And try and get that back on track, because we're going to have like this little tiny little stupid thing here that we're going to have to build. Alright. Actually no, because it looks like we're finally okay on commercial there. And it looks like the next big bump is actually going to be an industrial one, so that's fun. Alright. So yeah, I just think that this style of grid is probably the most like space-efficient way of doing things, but when you've got sort of like a very strict grid, you can end up with some real bad traffic congestion problems in this game, just because this game's not necessarily that realistic as far as the way it models traffic. So you kind of have to find creative ways to get around the fact that the traffic is going to just completely dick you over in this game. I guess part of it's like really weird because this house has like 3 households in it, like 3 families living in it, so it's just kind of weird. Or can have 3 families living in it. This one over here, 303. And then it gets bigger, and for some reason, like, the larger or more luxurious the house is, the more families live in it for some reason, which is kind of the opposite, but I guess they just do that for whatever the hell reason. I don't really know. Either way, though. Let's see here. Yeah, all these utilities are ones that we have already got access to, except for the high school. Okay, perfect. So yeah, we're going to be able to make some real bank pretty quickly with this build, but pretty soon I'm going to want to build another set of residential blocks. Now, I do want to actually make use of this railway to start creating a secondary lane for our commercial. What's going to happen is that like we have to get commercial shipments through the waterway, so that we can avoid having a real tangle for the train lines, which is going to require a lot of time before we can actually get there. But if we actually have the train lines, we can have limited amounts of stuff just running along that without having too many problems there. We could also have roads leading to some of them, but outside city connections through roads don't seem to actually do anything for whatever the hell reason, as far as that commercial demand goes, so I don't really know. Alright, let's extend this one too. Not necessarily sure that just extending these sorts of lines is actually that great an idea. Alright, so let's get recycling started right away, and I guess we need a cemetery. So for this type of city, we don't actually need things like buses, which is a little bit weird, but let's go ahead, recycling, there we go. And we need medical cemetery. So where do we want the cemetery to be? I guess we want it to be down here for now. It's got an indicator that we need a cemetery for this household badly, but I don't see anyone dead there, so usually they give you an indicator. Well, either way. Oh yeah, and the high school. Alright, we'll drop this one down here, and that should cover the entire grid. Even once we upgrade the size of the city, that should be the entire grid there. Alright. Get a little bit more of those in. And what we're going to do is actually build, our next residential block pretty soon. But I'm wondering if I want to have it like matched up for the river, or push it forward a little bit, or I don't really know what I want to do as far as that goes. We could also build one on the other side of the river, just make a mirror town, but that requires a lot more money than we've currently got because you have to immediately apply the amenities across the river, which is not really a great idea. Paying an extra like police station, hospital, everything else costs a lot of money. So the only thing we wouldn't need is another generator. We could easily put a line across there without causing any sort of problems, but I mean, I can buy another tile regardless, so I'm thinking that we definitely want this one. Let's go ahead and grab that. Let's see here. Alright, so I'm wondering actually if we can use the river here for boat connections. It's kind of looking like we can't. I'm wondering if you can only use it for ferry connections, which would kind of suck. Because if we can only use it for ferry connections, we're kind of hooped here. We really do need to have the external waterway connections. It looks like actually we need to get out to here before we get those. So we'd have to have our commercial zone linked up there and then have trains running down the rest of the way. The other alternative is we flatten out part of this terrain here, and that would let us sort of get access to it further in, I think, but I'm not 100% sure about that. So it's kind of weird that transit can only get through so far here. Anyway, I think we go ahead and delete some of these rocks maybe. Can I actually delete these? No. Okay. Like, you can get this terrain editor thing to do certain things, but apparently not that. See if we can, what we can do here. I wish there was a way to increase the size of the landscaping tool. Like, that would be kind of nice. Yeah, it looks like these just count as raised terrain, so it's not actually rocks or anything like that. Alright, so I'm going to have to do an experiment later where I see if I can extend the size of the river down here to extend the way that can go, but yeah, so we're getting some serious residential demand. But yeah, I think that we want to go ahead and build our next block out, and we want to build it around here. So I like having these about 5 spaces apart so that you can fit most of the good parks between them. You could always go larger if you wanted to, but you could also just have your parks like not in between your whatever. But alright, looks like we have to delete part of the railway already, and like I said, that's fine. We don't necessarily want the rail connections to be here. Alright, so delete all that, that's fine. And get across here, 2,800. Oops. There we go. 87 degrees, 97 degrees, there we go. Alright. And yeah, we're just not going to need any public transit for a while here, so I think we ignore everything that's currently in the tab. The only thing that we're going to really need is the subway stations, and the possibly an outside train station so that people can get into the city without having to use the roads. Oops, I screwed up here. There we go. Oh, damn it. Oh, man. I'm just all over the place right now. Anyway, this is the sort of start off of the same sort of idea of the city. We're going to have a much more organic sort of riverside area with the commercial, but it's still going to be fairly dense at the start, just because I don't have enough money to really do anything too fancy with the roads there. Besides, when I actually do start doing it, I like creating like these sort of squares and then filling it in with curved lines rather than having free-form curved lines. Like, I think it works better if the sort of curved lines work in a frame as opposed to just being out there in the wild. But again, that's just my preference because I just dislike disorderly-looking cities. I know a lot of people like them, but I think that they're terrible. Not just to navigate through, but also, like, I think they're literally the worst when it comes to the way they look. Alright. So I think why a lot of, like, really famous cities are built on, like, either a strict grid system, or they're built at least on a very rectangular pattern and then filled in, or something like that. There's very few cities that I know that are just freehand drawn that people actually like the look of. Alright. There we go. If it wasn't for the fact that the high school takes up the entire damn thing, I could also use the center grid to sort of draw in something a little bit more interesting there, but unfortunately the damn high school takes up the entire thing. Well. I could also have put the like high school on the outside there, but... So this will restrict traffic a little bit by having everybody sort of moving here to leave out, as opposed to having like this intersection working against us, but I think that that's the better way to do it. I'm not 100% sure I remember, though. Alright, gonna drag this line across here. Get that down here. And we'll need a bit of a park to sort of form a jumping off point for the new residential block here. Looks like I can't even afford a basic park though. So I think we just wait a little bit for our money to roll in a bit, even though we've got sort of a suboptimal situation here just because of all the money that we, or sort of residential demand that we've got here, but that's fine. Don't think we'll have too many of our businesses closing down over it. And then, like, all our businesses shut down, you know, because that's the way the game works. Just is a tremendous dick to you. Alright, so this should let us afford one of these parks. These ones are usually quite... There we go. Okay, so this'll do. Just a bit of a dog park, I think, is what this one is. Small playground. Okay, whatever. So that lets us jump electricity across here. So I can just go ahead and do this now, without having to put any unsightly power cables between there. Plus, it's nice to have a park. It's our first one. Nice little playground park there. And, yeah, we're seeing a little bit of promotion from all these other guys, too, as a result of that. It's pretty nice. Okay. Looking good, looking good. So, I could start doing a bit more of a curved road here, just because, like, follow the curve of the river a little bit better, but at the same time, I'm not really sure that I care too much right now. This is probably a little bit too steep there, but we'll have a few riverfront things here. I would actually hate having a territory that's on the riverfront like that, just because I'd be worried about like sliding into the water. But I'm a pessimist, so you know. Although I like fairly recently, we had a big flood where I live, and there was a lot of problems for people who did live along the river, so. A lot of people think that it is really nice living on the river, and it is until your entire house just washes downstream. Alright. Got something like that going on. I don't know. Looks a little bit wonky, but it's probably okay. It's recommending I buy new land again, but I just bought new land, so... Ah, god damn it. Really? Okay, let's try one of these. These things are usually pretty good. They're not too expensive. They do a pretty decent amount of electricity, so... we probably also need 100% this again, since we've got the money for it. Could have been just nighttime that we were having those problems. Oh boy. Alright. Alright, so that fixed that. Need a little bit more commercial and a little bit more industrial. Just keep constantly building. It's pretty relaxing. That's why I'm doing this for relaxing with episode. Alright, and get down to about here. There we go. And apparently we need way more industry for all this, which is a bit of a shame. I would like to just upgrade the industry that we have if possible, but I don't really think that we can with what we're currently doing. So this is all going to become quite difficult to manage just because of how much stuff has to go through here. Okay. Alright, something like that. That ought to do. Getting up pretty decently there. Should be able to hit our next milestone pretty easily. It's only 4,600. That doesn't really get us anything, though. Like, none of this is too important for what we're doing right now. Don't really need the hospital, police headquarters, or fire station, because we're going to be building these tiny blocks. Well, we could actually build probably like a fire station or something like that for the industrial district, but we're not going to have a permanent industrial district anyway, so it's kind of less relevant. Do I not have... shit. Also shit. Okay, let's get another one of these. I don't know, they just seem to work out quite well, and the river here seems to be pretty good for them. Alright, let's just get this all the way across here. So, the railway, we have to sort of decide where we're going to have the railway coming through. Because that's going to be our secondary commercial, and it looks like down here would be fine. So I think maybe we have enough room for like one more, and then we can sort of have that follow along the curve of the road for a little bit, and then we'll delete the road eventually anyway, so that might be how we go about this. Not really sure, though. Get rid of those. Ah, hell. High demand for industrial still. Wow. Did not think we'd have quite this much demand for industrial. Do we go for a third stack here? Or do we try and upgrade these? Because I think these are all, like, pretty much... Well, actually, no. Some of them are pretty okay. I think we'll, like, add in a park for these guys. I think that actually helps out a little bit here. What we'll do is we'll put it... I don't know, actually. Maybe I shouldn't put such a large one. Let's just put, like... tennis court, maybe? Yeah, we'll put a tennis court down there. Doesn't take quite as much room. So hopefully we'll see some upgrades on these industrial buildings here. Takes a little while, though. Could also go down to the fire department and add another one of those, because that would actually be probably a smart idea. Oh, down to busy town. Alright, still nothing that important, though, so... Alright, so we'll have the fire station right beside there, and that should potentially get some of these guys upgrading, although that one apparently is now back to level 1 with 0 experience, so don't really know what the hell happened there. That's not good. Alright, well... Okay, next up is going to be our 7,500, and this is where we get access to the office zone, so we just have to basically hold out to there. At that point in time, we don't have to worry anywhere near as much about... shit. About any of that sort of stuff there. Okay, oil plants. We'll put you... like here, I guess. Alright, so yeah, we just have to cram in a little bit more industrial for a short period of time here. I can probably actually get a little bit in this way. Alright, cool. Oh, glad I got that extra fire station in. The fire station is actually pretty damn far away from here, so being able to sort of fix that is not really a bad thing at all. It's amazing how positive the people in the city, in city skylines are, like the citizens. Like, they'll complain about certain things, like, literally, there's a dead person in my room, and it's been weeks. Why has no one come to pick up this dead person that's been in this room for weeks? Like, but other than that, they'll be like, oh yeah, no, best city in the world. Love it. It's great. Fantastic. It's just like, sure it is, buddy. I mean, I've got lots of sort of problems going on here, but yeah, sure, if you want to believe this is the best city ever, that's your prerogative, I guess. Alright, I'm gonna have to get some more parks in here. The one I put in, like that one little small park there, is apparently shit. And it looks like we're also out of sewage treatment, so that's fun. Okay. Clean water upstream, dirty water downstream. Alright. There we go. And same thing over here. Huh, still need more industry. Holy crap. Yeah, the problem is, like, I won't be able to get my residential population up until I get this industrial demand sorted, so... Because no one's going to move in if there's no jobs for them, so... There we go. This is like that last sort of hurdle, is getting up to that sort of 8,500 mark. I guess part of the reason is, as well, I've got like a huge flood of people already coming in to move into this area, so it's kind of the way it is. Alright, let's go ahead and grab up... I really like the Ferris wheel, or the carousel park or whatever. So we'll go ahead and put one there. Just look how effective it is for no good reason. I have no idea why. Should be actually seeing a bunch of these households like upgrading just based on that. It'd be kind of nice if buildings like this actually had, like, road access ways to both sides, because I'm still pretty sure that you can only actually access this park from one side. But I'm not 100% sure about that. Because I can only see people coming in from this one side over here. I don't know. Like, if there was some feature to make it so that buildings automatically had, like, road access points on all sides that access the road, that would be kind of nice. But, I don't know. Maybe it would break the game or something. I don't really know there. So I think we just have to bite the bullet and do this. I really didn't want to, but it'll be okay. Alright, something like that. And even this isn't going to probably be enough, but it's better than nothing. Space is already occupied. That's weird. Alright, there we go. Commercial needs a little bit of a boost as well here. I think we just build along the river for now. It's probably actually easier with the other tool. It's the other reason I don't like doing the curved roads. Alright. Yeah, you can really see the traffic starting to back up a little bit heading out towards this area. Just because there's so many people that have to use this road to get to work every day. But we should be getting access, I think, to the subway lines next, in our next tier as well with the high density, so should be okay. Still getting a decent flood of people coming in at a pretty steady rate, so I think we're okay. If I upgrade the roads as well, I might get another level of house upgrades. Yeah, maybe I should upgrade the roads now. I don't know, actually. These buildings look pretty okay as far as, like, upgrades and stuff. Why not, actually? Let's get at least the very outside upgraded here. Ooh, I might need to get another garbage dump, which I'm not really happy about. Alright. A few of these households upgraded here. Yeah, usually I need like 3 garbage dumps before I can get access to the incinerators, but I think I might get away with 2 this time. Alright. Part of the problem with this by comparison to my last run is that I can't do the walkways to the work section as easily, just because we're spread across a much larger distance here, but should be okay anyway. There we go. Yeah, starting to see some upgrades based on that. Yeah, I think we have to go get another garbage dump here. It's getting a little bit bad. Guess we'll just put it here. It's not brilliant, but it'll do. And again, once more with the goddamn industrial. Ooh, yeah, I'm really running out of places where I can legitimately put this stuff. I think we can squeeze a little bit more into here, but again, this is a pretty bad spot for it. This puts intersections pretty close together, but it's kind of a temporary spot, so I'm not too worried about it. I don't think that's going to do much, though. Alright, up to 6,400. I only need 2,000 more, and I'm there, so... Question is, will I be able to make it before our road collapses completely? Because this is like really, really bad. Wow, okay. I don't know if I can actually get the pipe here. There we go. Okay, it's a little bit of a wonky little spot in there, but yeah, I don't care about that at all. Okay. Get all these upgraded here. Okay. Well, yeah, it's going kind of okay, kind of not okay. Our population is still going up pretty quickly, but it's pretty obvious that I'm going to need a new block for houses pretty much now. But yeah, I think you guys get the idea of what we're up to here. So I think we'll call it an episode now. Basically just sort of relaxing with Yukitsu kind of thing. Yeah, I think that this layout is going to be a little bit better than my previous one. I just have to get access to those high-density tiles there, and once I've done that, I'll be able to do a lot. Oh, I only need 7,500 actually. I'm only 1,000 off. I thought it was 8,500. But yeah, as soon as I grab this, I'm gonna have a much better chance of succeeding at this sort of village here, or town here, or whatever it is. But for what we have right now, it's going to be just a little bit difficult to sort of inch our way to that last finish line there, just without having massive employment issues. Just where I've got way too many people that are unemployed, but. If I can sort of blitz through there, it might even be possible for me to fill in another square without having to actually get them jobs for a temporary thing, and that sometimes works out. So we'll see if I can manage that. But in the meantime, yeah, I hope you found this episode enjoyable, and of course, as always, hope to see you guys all next time.